Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. Today's very special. It's my very first drive in the all-new 2015 Mustang. The one we've got right here is the new 2.3 liter EcoBoost model. It's got the automatic transmission. So we're going to just do a raw, unscripted drive and see what I think about this car on my first drive. Let's go.
The 2015 Mustang styling has been seen and talked about widely, so I won't belabor it here with a long walk around. A few quick points though. Our tester is an EcoBoost Premium, which gives it the larger 18x8 wheels which come standard on the Mustang GT. EcoBoost Mustangs get a different upper and lower grille treatment than both the V6 and the GT. Out back, the EcoBoost gets the same dual exhaust pipes as a GT, and our premium model has a two-tone lower fascia instead of the monotone body color one that comes with the base trim. Other stylistic differences between the EcoBoost and the GT are the running pony on the rear deck lid instead of the GT emblem, and on the hood, there's no heat extractor vents, and this is actually somewhat curious since the turbocharged 4 could likely use them. Under that hood is what most are curious about. The all-new 2.3 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder roasts out 310 horsepower. That's just a tad bit more than the V6 in power, but has a good deal more torque at 320 pound-feet. The turbocharger is right at the side and easy to see. Now the engine cover could have been a bit more pleasing to the eye, something I imagine the aftermarket will be on pretty quickly. So how does it sound?
Now you notice there, it didn't take much to break these tires loose. And we are in sport mode right now, so this thing's holding my gear, and that's why it's buzzing loud as I let off the throttle there. Now I'm gonna put my foot in this thing real good, and the transmission, the drive mode right now is just regular drive mode. Now what you might have noticed is, this time when I took my foot out of the accelerator, the transmission just went ahead and went into its upshifts. It didn't hold that thing in my gear like it would in sport mode. And really, that sport mode's for if you're out on a windy road in the mountains and you're going from corner to corner to corner, and that's going to hold your gear for you so that when you get ready to come out of that corner, you don't have to shift back down again. It's already there. Yeah, these paddle shifters actually work well enough that they're fun to use. Yep. Not bad. Not bad at all. So far I'm finding here that if I was choosing not the V8, I really do think that this 2.3 liter EcoBoost is going to offer somebody a pretty good option, even the driving enthusiast, because at least this you can order with a performance package like you can get with the V8. You can get the nicer wheels and a lot of the other options that some of them aren't available with that V6. And I think that down the road, I think that the aftermarket is probably going to support this engine more than they have with the V6, because if you look at the last 10 or 15 years of the Mustang V6, there hasn't been a lot of aftermarket support for adding power to that car and things like that. And I think with this 2.3 liter Turbo 4, you're going to see a lot of stuff come down the pike, and the next SEMA show or two is probably going to iron that out for us.
The interior of the 2015 Mustang, like the rest of the car, is all new. The first impression you get behind the wheel is a heightened sense of design and material quality. While our premium tester was fully decked with infotainment and leather, even the base models rise above rental car grade. The fit and finish are substantially improved, the quality of the switchgear from another world. Not a single button, knob, or lever seems to have been brought over from the last generation. Genuine metal trims and soft touch padding really raise the bar. Ironically, despite this cabin being 100% new, the design theme feels remarkably similar. A dual-cowl design returns for another generation, and the instrument cluster retains the same large 2-dial design with large center information screen.
Now, the other thing that's my biggest first impression so far is that when you sit in this car and you look over the hood, This has the feel of like a 71 Mustang. It's just got this big hood that just sort of rolls out there in front of you. And it really gives you a sense of this car having a pretty big size.
Underneath it all is where I really think this car has its greatest news. The all-new platform, as we well know, not only has a new dual ball joint front suspension, but finally, the live axle's given way to a modern independent rear suspension.
It's something that I've long advocated for the Mustang, is getting rid of that live axle. I know a lot of guys that drag race that think that drag racing is all there is to life. Well, of course, they're not pretty happy about that. But for the rest of us that drive cars in the real world out here on the freeway, where you have expansion strips around town, where you have railroad track crossings, or just potholes, that independent rear suspension is going to make this drive like a modern car. And so far what I'm finding is the few times that I've really put power to that rear end, I just get a nice snappy delivery of it. I don't get that kind of warbliness that the live axle used to deliver up. Now we're just driving in town here from stoplight to stoplight, and what I'm finding so far is that this chassis feels completely fresh. The other Mustang, well, it was really the best that a live axle and the best that that old chassis could have gotten. It often felt like a truck. It was as refined as it could be, but it's still, compared to so many other cars in the market that you could get behind the wheel of, it had heavy steering, heavy pedals, heavy controls, and the shifter just wasn't all that great. And so this car really, in the way it feels, it just feels modern. And that goes to the steering and the way the rear suspension reacts to power and braking. The other thing is this dual ball joint front suspension and the new steering that's in this. One of the big benefits to that is that you get a pretty tight turning circle because of the way the geometry can work for you in this thing. Even with the larger brakes and wheels, you have a pretty tight turning circle. So far, I'm liking what I see. I like the fact that this thing has a much nicer interior. I like the fact that it feels modern in terms of how the chassis reacts to you. I like the way it feels. It's got a modern feel in the chassis. And this particular engine, I think, is going to be something that somebody's just going to have to drive to see if they like it themselves. Well, folks, I think that's going to conclude our first drive of the 2015 Mustang 2.3 liter EcoBoost. I'm Sam Haymar for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride.